comes through.
We're live now.
Oh, here we go.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to High Vibes Up. We are live on Wednesday, May 10th, 2023, and we have a special guest here with us today. Diane and myself are guest hosting for Kid and Candy as they are on their wellness journey. And we welcome our special guest today, Elias from ML Renegade. Welcome, Elias. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm super excited. I have been waiting for this for the longest time.
Well, geez, now you've built me up. I can't let you down now. My gosh.
I doubt you could, even if you tried.
I'm sure you've got some amazing insights to share with everybody. We have a huge audience and the High Vibes Up family that kind of join us on a Wednesday. They really value and appreciate this space because it brings so much light into their life on a daily basis. We're going through a lot right now with the high vibrations, high energies that are coming to the planet. And I feel that there is a lot of guidance that people are seeking as to how can we align, how can we ground ourselves, how can we manage these energies better, because they can make us feel out of shape and out of whack if we don't ground our energies and if we don't kind of learn to stabilize and meditate, to allow more of the energies to come through. The messages that I was receiving today was all about, we've forgotten who we truly are and how do we find our way back to our true authentic self. And what steps can everybody take? Are we taking on false identities because we want to be better, because we want to be like somebody else, because we've lost our personalities due to what we have been shown and conditioned to over the years. And so now it's about how do we connect to our authentic selves each and every day, that God self that allows us to be who we truly are, live authentically. And here we are today covering this subject with ML, Elias. So, I'm going to turn it over to you for your wisdom and guidance and your in-depth messages that you can share with everybody.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's interesting. I had a conversation with Candy yesterday. Yeah, we were talking about the nature of the world. And she asked me a question. She said, Elias, how do you balance the 3D world and trying to ascend? Because the 3D world wants to keep pulling us back in. And I said, well, that's a really great question, right? Because we have to work, we have to pay bills. There's certain things that we still have to do that is part of the 3D world. And I told her, those that choose to exist in the 3D world are not living, they're surviving. If you want to live, you need to escape the 3D world as much as you possibly can and consciously and vibrationally ascend to the fourth and fifth. That's living, because living in the 3D world, there's no such thing. That's an oxymoron. You're in slavery, you're in bondage, you're in servitude. That is not living, that is surviving. And I told her that even though we do have to stay to a degree in the 3D world, we don't have to constantly be enmeshed into the 3D world. If we limit ourselves on how much we have to interact into that 3D world and really start focusing on the next world ascending, then that's how we're able to actually manifest this to really actually happen for us. It's a unity thing. And I told her it's really interesting. I always use this metaphor. So let's say you have a block of 20 houses. And this is a metaphor that actually perfectly identifies the nature of the world that we're in right now. So let's say you're on a subdivision, a block of 20 houses, and every single one of those households were told to come out on Sunday night at 9 p.m. to see this magnificent event that's going to take place. So Sunday night comes, 9 p.m. happens. All the families are out there to watch and witness this magnificent event they were told about. The event happens, everybody goes back home, and then you go to each and every house and ask them, so what did you see at 9 o'clock tonight? What was the big event that happened? It's amazing that out of those 20 households, only 2 or 3 will be able to tell you what happened. The other 17 or 18 will say, I didn't see anything. Nothing took place. That's the world that we're living in right now. And that is our reality. We have duality that is happening right now, duality. And, another thing that I talked with Candy about yesterday was this, because she was asking me some questions about certain truther platforms and channels. And I said, do you want to know why the truther community failed to awaken the masses over the last 4 or 5 years? And she said, yeah, sure. I said, it's because truth always stands on its own merit. Truth has its own frequency. And if you're standing in truth, standing in honor at all times, the frequencies are high. But when you're not, and you're saying half truths, or you're actually just flat out lying, frequencies are really low, right? So how are you going to awaken the masses if you're constantly feeding them half truths or flat out lies, like most of the truthers have done for the last 3 or 4 years? Now, I'm not saying all the truthers, but a lot of them are disinformation operatives. And it's very apparent because you know what? As I told her, all of this information and intel that they've been regurgitating over the last 3 or 4 years from one place to another place, and none of that has ever came to pass. What is happening now is we're seeing the sifting of the wheat from the tares taking place, right? Mm-hmm. I was on Carrie Cassidy's show back in December 2 times, and I told her, we're going to witness some things in the new year of 2023. One of those things is we're going to see an emergence of real truthers coming out that have been in the shadows, on the sidelines, observing, watching the last 3 or 4 years to see what's happening. And then they're going to start making themselves known, their presence to be known, and real intel and real truth is going to come forward, and it's going to rock people's world, because this is real truth that they weren't getting. That's what's going to wake these people up. I said the other thing that's going to happen is the year 2023 is the year of revealing. The revealing of real truth is going to start happening. And it's going to come at us like a broken fire hydrant, where we're just getting bombarded with this gushing of truth itself. And so we have to refine that tool of discernment. If we don't have that discernment tool refined right now, man, these people are going to be lost. And it's sad because that's what's happening in the nature of our world right now. We are going gangbusters right now. We really are. It's sad. Most Americans are oblivious to what the hell's going on down on our border right now.
Oh my
They don't have a clue that we have 800,000 to 1 million illegal aliens that are going to come into the United States starting tomorrow. They have no clue. They don't know what Title 42 is. They're oblivious to all this stuff that's happening. It's sad. It's sad. And I can tell you guys this for sure, ladies. I know who wins. We win. We do win this. But we got to get through some shite to get to the other side. We got to get through it. We have to endure. We have to endure well. If we don't endure well, it's not going to happen. So, I just wanted to think, I thought all day long, what did I want to talk about tonight? And I'm a Mod Podge. I can talk about anything and everything for the most part. But I'm really concerned about a few things. I really am. We have the convergence. We literally have an invasion that's taking place right now. All right. Yep. It's not just a matter of having 800,000 to 1 million illegal aliens being staged at our southern border for infiltration. The Chicoms have been importing male Chinese nationalists to Central America, Panama, for the last year at least, tens of thousands of military-aged male Chinese nationalists have been imported into Panama, where they've been housed and they've been trained. Well, what are they being trained for? Well, this is an interesting thing. You see, there's a clause in our immigration law, thanks to the current regime that's in charge, because I got to make sure I protect ourselves so we don't get buzzed here by the YouTube Nazis, right?
Right.
So the current regime said, hey, you know what? If you are an illegal alien that's seeking political asylum to come into the United States because your beliefs, you're persecuted because you might be a homosexual, you might be a transvestite. Well, guess what? If you come to our border, you get to move to the front of the line, and you don't have to worry about all the red tape that the other, ones have to go through. You get a pass. So that's what they're doing with these Chinese nationalists. They're training them how to cross-dress. This is no joke. They're training them to cross-dress. Then they're busing them all the way up through Mexico. And I actually posted videos on my Telegram channel for the last 2 weeks, almost on a daily basis, of bus loads in the middle of the night transporting Chinese nationalists from Mexico into Texas, dozens every single night. And we have sleeper cells here. We have sleeper cells. They're being staged, and I really feel, I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but I really feel something is about ready to take place here. We have sleeper cells that have been amassed over the years. This isn't just something that happened in the last 2 years. This has been going on for quite a while. And I believe that the chickens are coming home to roost pretty dang soon.
Something's going to pop. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Or they're going to try and make something pop.
There you go. That's what they're trying to do, is incite a civil unrest.
Yep.
But thank God the patriots are smarter than the dumbass liberals. All right, they really are. We try to think, we try not to act and react just based off of emotion. We try and use logic and reasoning and deductive reasoning at that, right? So the whole thing that's happening with a certain family that's in the White House right now, I think the worst thing that could happen is that they try and kick him out of there and oust him out of there, because you know what they're going to do? They'll replace him with like Michael Obama. Michael, who I'm talking about.
Stupid Newsom.
Yeah. Or stupid Newsom. They'll replace him with some other libtard like that to finish the job. If you ladies, and I know you're in Canada, and aren't you, Diane, you're in California? Is that where you're at in California? Okay. So if you look at the political landscape right now, our presidential cycle that's happening, right? We have one person on the Republican side that's announced that they're running for president. This is not a normal campaign, Divine ones. It's not.
Nope.
Because any other presidential campaign previous to this, by this time within a presidential cycle, you'll have 10 to 12 candidates running in the primaries, going back and forth across the country, jockeying to win the primaries. That is not happening. This is not a normal campaign cycle. We are not going to see a presidential election. Mark my words. We will not see a presidential election in 2024.
You keep giving me goosebumps. When I put up my arm like this, I'm getting goosebumps, and they're truth bumps.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's not the first time I've said this. I'm a kind of a broken record. I've been saying this for a better part of a year. That, yes, I do know for certain that there's an Earth Alliance and that there are white hats that are doing things, shall we say, right?
Yes.
But they have to play both sides of the fence really well. Because if you're going to deceive the deceivers, well, you got to do it in such a way that they fall for a false sense of security, like they've got this thing locked in, when in fact they don't. I was telling my audience, I did a Telegram chat 2 weeks ago, and I was talking with them about how in the secret space program, there's an operation called 20 and Back program.
Yes.
The 20 and Back program has men and women of different branches of our military participate in the secret space program, where they are carrying out operations that are, let's say, otherworldly, all right? And after they serve in that capacity, they're regenerated back to their original age when they went into service, into the entry of their service date. What I can tell you is those individuals have shared with me and with other individuals, mind you, they've seen how this game wins. They participated in it. They know 20 years from now, in 2043, we've won this. We've won this. But we have to get through what we need to get through in order for this to take place. We have to. You know, that's why I love it, because I'm the truth truther. You know, on my YouTube channel, I'm the truth truther. That's what I call myself, because I hold other truthers accountable. And that's why I'm blackballed by most truthers. They do not want me on their show, because I'll call them out right there on their show, and I'll call them on their stuff, because I have an uncanny memory to remember when you're saying times, dates, places, things are supposed to happen. That's, you know, all those things. I hold them accountable to that. Somebody has to. We have to, right?
Yes.
We have to. And so, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But in our truther community, there is a sifting that is now happening. This is the third thing that I told Carrie was going to happen this new year. In the sifting of the wheat from the tare, these truthers that have been out there for the last 3 or 4 years have very large footprints. They've made a shit ton of money off of their audiences, bilking them in every possible way, giving them disinformation. Those people are going by the bye-bye. You know why? They don't have any credible intel anymore. So nobody's tuning in, they're tuning out. And they're going to places where they're starting to get next level information and intel. There's a gentleman by the name of Lieutenant Scott Bennett, great patriot. That's a truther right there. And if you guys can, you guys should get him on this show, because he is a true patriot. And he's laying it out there like I've been laying it out there. He's been calling it just the way I've been calling it as well. You know, he's talked about, the Clay Clark events, you know, the Reawaken the Tour. Well, guess what? You know, they made $300 or $400 million over the last couple of years. Everybody that was participating in that became very wealthy patriots, right? Some of those people are leaders in the patriot community that we held to this pinnacle of, oh, those are real patriots. Those are the good guys. They're with the white hats. When in fact, they were not. They were not. They were deceived. So that time of sifting is now happening. And it's a beautiful thing to watch and see. It's a beautiful thing because, like I said, we're going to start seeing emergence of real intel operatives that are on the right side of the fence, not the wrong side of the fence, trying to spread disinformation out there itself. So now I've gone up, you know, I'm sorry about my diatribe there, but
no, we appreciate that. All that you
this one was on my heart.
Oh, I love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing that, because I think there's a lot of confusion. And you just defining that, you know, there is more to see than meet the eye. People really need to discern, you know, apply what your inner being's guiding you to kind of say, is this true? Is it not true? Does this feel right? Or doesn't it feel right? Okay. So tuning into that, seeing through the confusion and the missed messages. And I think that is causing a lot of discomfort in people, because they thought, oh, I was bought into this. Now I've got to change tracks. Now what do I look at? Now who do I trust? So that is going to cause a lot of friction of energy to rise along with what we are dealing with. And I think that friction causes other issues too amongst the community members. So therefore now, how do we go about each and every day? How do you live your life in gratitude and appreciation? I think it's going back inwards now. We sit from that seat of the soul and say, okay, what is it that I need in this moment today to begin to really find my truth? Where do I empower
I think
myself?
I think we're at this point now where the service to self is going by the wayside, and the service to others is what has to actually happen, right?
100%.
Has to happen. We're going into a new world. Whether people want to believe that or not, that's on them. It's happening. That world is already there. most of us that are truthers, if you will, that are consciously awake about what ascension is, what it means, what we're supposed to do to prepare ourselves to get to that point, we know what's about ready to happen. You know, religion says it's the end of days. We're in apocalyptic times. You know, apocalyptic, that's a really funny word, apocalypse, because apocalyptic just means the unveiling. That's all it means. Doesn't mean it's doom and gloom, but religion has portrayed that one word as a doom and gloom situation, scenario, the end of days. It's the end of the dark days, for the dark ones. It's the beginning of the light for the light beings, us. You know, my name is Elias Melchizedek. I'm Melchizedekian, literal Melchizedek. Okay. I know about our ancient timelines and how history has a tendency to repeat itself. It always does. Right? We've been here before, but not in this capacity, because we are the first planet to actually ascend as a whole, rather than just a few. We're ascending as a whole. We have that opportunity. You know, last time this happened as an opportunity was 26,500 years ago. Well, they didn't make it. You know, that was the third great civilization of Atlantis. They didn't make that. So now we get this opportunity here. And the galactic guardians, if that's what we want to call them, our heavenly hosts, they have to ensure that this takes place no matter what. No matter what. You know, I had an amazing interview almost a year ago with Saint Germain, and I had recorded that because I was actually given a transcript of our conversation. And you know what's fascinating? In that conversation, Saint Germain never mentioned anything about money, a global trust, a world trust. His focus was, I want to teach you about love and ascension, because every person on this planet belongs into one of four groups. You know, one group is those that are service to others. They're always about service to others. And they're already from a conscious and vibrational level in that fourth and fifth dimension space already. Then you have group two, who knows it's going to happen, but they're not quite sure they want to make that quantum leap quite yet. So they're waiting back and they're right in the fence to see how things shake out, right? Then you have the third group, who is service to themselves, where, you know, they're like, well, you know, I don't think I'm going to go this time around. I think I like the third world and I like my money and stuff like that. And I'm just going to see how that shakes out. Then you have the fourth group, which is the absolute service to self, but it's the service to self to destroy humanity, to enslave, right? So those individuals, they're not obviously going to make it. They're going to get like recycled through and get another chance in another 26,500 years to try this again itself. So there is a plan. That's what I'm saying, is there's a plan that God, source, the prime creator, whatever you want to name the title of our creator, there's an ultimate plan for each and every single one of us. And it's not a matter of a savior or a messiah coming and sacrificing himself over a blood covenant so that we could be saved. That's not that plan. You see what I'm saying? We are the plan. We are our saviors. You know, I've been controversial for 2.5, 3 years that I've been this influencer. And I hate that term influencer, because I'm not trying to influence anybody. I'm just trying to educate and teach, right? As I've said, we have many Christ among us. People will be shocked to find out how many Christ are among us, how many of angelics are among us right now, how many galactic guardians, Palladians, Lyrians, Andromedans, I mean, so forth, are literally among us to help us, to guide us in this process. You know, I had this visit with an associate that's in Earth Alliance, and they're Palladians. And I asked them this question. This was about this time last year. And I asked them, I said, when do we get to see evidence of you guys? When do we get to see the works that you guys are doing on behalf of humanity to help us get rid of the bad guys and usher in our new age? I mean, when do we see these things? And this ambassador said, well, that's a great question, Elias. Let me ask you this question. When do you, not just me, but you as humanity, quit enslaving yourselves? When do you as humanity quit giving permission to the dark ones to have claim over you. Because this emissary said, every time we help you, humanity, you turn right back around and you give them permission to put you into bondage and slavery over and over and over again. And I'm like, really? Well, how do we do that? And this emissary said, by the way you live your lives. He said, simply by your inactions, you're giving them permission by being inactive and not proactive to stand up for your sovereignty. That's one way. He said, by the things you watch, read, the music you listen to, all of those things, you are giving and granting permission to the dark ones every time you engage in certain behavior. Pornography is another one, gambling is another one, drugs, alcohol, all those things parlay into that. He said, when you guys get a control on that, then we'll come back in and we'll help you. But you have to help yourselves first before we can help you. That was a very profound message.
It is. Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's the purification, right? I think it's a purification process that we're going through, that when we learn to detach from what we've been conditioned to see and live and believe, it's letting go of all that and shedding the weight of the conditioned life for the time that we've been here and even before. And it's about that purification stages that we must now adhere to in order to get through this. Sorry, Diane, go ahead, please.
I was just thinking, a couple of different points going back a ways. Everyone's hearing this word discernment, and maybe we can break it down like Crayola style, because they just, once they hear it, it's just over and over. It's just like, oh yeah, that word, do that again. They don't even know what it means, some of them, and what it means when they say truth. So I'd love for you, ML, to go over that. And the other thing that I wanted to mention, over this past week, I had an opportunity to be in Palm Springs, and the level of alcohol use is insane. And that just seems to be an okay place to go. It's just the go-to, you know what I mean? It's just like this, it's massive. And that's how they're grabbing masses of people, masses. And so they get this dumbed down, numbing, and then how many days recovering? Do they finally make the recovery? And what do? They immediately pick up, no, not their methylene blue, but they pick up their, and they're back at it again. So it's just like this thing it's this perpetual motion. We've got this thing moving. And now how do we stop that boulder from rolling down the hill more? So those are the two things that I would love for you to address. Discernment and the drinking.
Yeah, as it relates to discernment, it's really simple. Discernment is the ability to know within the core of your soul what is true versus what is false. It's that simple. How do you do that? Well, there's tools that you acquire to be able to do that. It's called doing the inner work within yourself, whether that's praying, meditating, whatever you want to call that. It's putting the good in and trying to get rid of the bad is what you're trying to do, meaning in which if you are a person that's holding on to grudges, negative thoughts, feelings, emotions, it's time to take personal inventory and release. Learn to forgive and release, forgive and release. And there is ways that you do that, and once you learn to forgive and release these trapped emotions that you have, then you start feeling lighter. Then you start tuning in to your soul, right? Because we go to church not for our souls to be nourished. Our spirits get nourished at church, but not the soul. The only thing that can nourish our soul is God and our relationship with our Creator. That's the only thing that nourishes our soul itself, because that's the Father, Creator of our soul. That's the conception of our soul happened with the Creator, the Prime Creator. So that's essential, that's discernment in a nutshell. It's not complicated, but it does take effort and diligent effort on our part to be able to refine that tool itself. And the more you refine it, you're going to start tuning out of the bullshit stuff that's out there, because there's a lot of bullshit distraction stuff everywhere, right? Everywhere. I don't listen to truther channels. I haven't for 2 years listened to anybody's quote unquote truther channels. I don't need to, because I know what they're all saying. It's the same crap over and over again. Nobody's saying anything new under the sun.
No.
But through my own discernment and research, I have truth that comes to me all the time. I have people sending me stuff all the time. It's just, so it's not that hard. It really isn't. All right. Now, what was your second question, Diane?
Just real quick on discernment. One of my girlfriends was asking me, what do you mean by discernment? And I basically said this in a nutshell. You have kids, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, do you know when they're lying to you? You just have this, something's not quite right in what just happened. Even though, of course, you want to believe your children, but something was just a little off, and you continue to ask more questions, and then the kid starts getting pissed off, and that means you've got them, and dads have this too. And that's what I'm saying. We don't actually get the opportunity to question these truthers or whomever is up there spouting whatever. But if they've been talking about the exact same thing happening, at this time, for the last 2 years, I'm thinking click, right? The other one, question was, gosh, what did I say? Holy moly, I don't know. I did ask a question. Satnam, do you remember?
So one was about discernment, the other one was about drinking.
Oh yeah, the main way to numb a massive population
and keep that cognitive dissonance going, right, the whole time. All right. So drinking is one way, that's for sure, to numb everybody. But so is fentanyl and all these other drugs that are being pumped into our societies. On top of that as well, they want to keep people numb, because over the last 3 years you have 5 billion people on this planet that got the gene therapeutic.
Yeah. The poison apple, as Candy calls it.
Right. And that time is ticking. But you know what, there is hope. I believe there is hope. I know there is technology. So when I came into this movement, I believed at first, wow, we're going to have Jasara, Nasara, the RV, we're going to have the 10 Days of Darkness, the EBS, we're going to have all these things hit, bam, bam. And then we were going to have the med beds. This new healing frequency technology was going to come out. Holy cow, wow, right? And,
tomorrow.
right, exactly, right. And so then over the last 2 years, I would start to analyze that, and I would start distancing myself from those individuals that was really promoting a lot of those theories, because that's all they were theories. They weren't even working theories. They were just theories or disinformation. Right. And so I really got thrown a curve here. So a lot of the people that know me, last March, I had a visit from the federals. A lot of people know I had this special visit that took place. Right. And then I participated in an investigation. There's an open grand jury investigation within our own community that most people aren't even aware of, but it took place nonetheless, because some of those people that you think are really good men and women in the truther patriot community are the ones that are actually passing kiddie porn and doing other stuff like that. Okay. That information will be coming out as well eventually. But the fact remains, that event happened, and it changed things for me. All right. It changed things for me. I could have taken advantage of that situation, and I could have been the next Nino Rodriguez and had hundreds of thousands of followers because everybody wanted me on their channels, because I was the next Derek Johnson, so to speak. But I didn't do that. I did not do anybody's channels, shows, because I wasn't going to be used as the next flavor of the flav, because that's all this is. In this community, every 3 or 4 months, somebody new comes along with something new and sensational, And out of 3 or 4 months, they peter out and they go off into the wind, and you never see them again. And that's just the cycle that happens in this community all the time, right?
Yes.
So in February this year, we're just talking a couple months ago, I was asked if I wanted to meet with a certain individual. And I said, sure, because I had a close friend of mine who was wanting me to take a look at this organization for the last year. But I didn't want to, because I'd actually been telling people, don't be buying into this crap about healing frequency, med bed, Tesla bed stuff, crap like that. Because in my mind, other things and events have to happen before that even comes into the play, period.
Exactly.
That's what we've been told, right? So I had this meeting towards the end of February. Yeah, towards the February, very beginning of March. And I had a 3-hour meeting with this woman who a lot of people in the truther community know, especially high up in the white hat community, know her. And I was blown away, because that actually technology is here. That med bed, that's what they call it, but it's not med bed. Some people call it that, but that's not really what it is. But that technology, the frequency healing technology, is actually here, and it's actually viable, and it is coming forward. And so I was given this opportunity to become an ambassador, a global ambassador with this organization. And so what's fascinating, and it gets me emotional, because in previous timelines of our existence, certain technologies, healing technologies, frequency technologies, have been utilized for a long time, right? Except they took them from us. These rat bastards who reset humanity a few times took this technology from us and tried to hide it from us. So only the global elites had access to it. But everything has to be restored in these final scenes of this movie. Everything has to be restored. One of those restorations is the ability to use and harness the ethereal energy and crystals to produce frequency, healing frequencies, nonetheless. That's what the Tartarians used. The Atlanteans used it. Many civilizations use this technology itself. And so that technology is absolutely here. I've seen it. I use it. I know it's real. And so I have to eat crow a little bit, because I kept telling people, don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. And then I had a private meeting with somebody who is in with the white hats, who has been charged to bring this technology forward into the world. Not only that, I was brought into this group. I was given an invitation to be in this. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm jumping on this. Why wouldn't I? The opportunity to heal humanity, why not? But I'm making this as a point, because when you're somebody who has a proven track record of being a truth teller, who hasn't given up your secrets and salacious stuff, because this is the problem in our community. A lot of individuals, they get a good nugget of information, right? Instead of holding on to it like they should, they've got to put it out there because they got to boost their numbers. They're more concerned about boosting their ratings and their numbers all the time. So they'll whore themselves out. They'll whore their intel out. And you're not supposed to do that. These people, I've been saying this for 2 years, the white hats are watching us, guys. They're watching our moves. They know what we're doing, how we're doing it. And they purposely feed us information. A lot of times it's disinformation, because they want to test you to see if you're going to run with it and whore it out, or you're going to safeguard that until you give them further instruction. They know who they can trust. They know who they can trust.
You keep it under your hat until you've vetted it yourself.
There you go. There you go. That's exactly right. There's your discernment.
Yeah. Why would I say something just because, if I don't know it to be exactly true?
Exactly. Yeah. Pardon me. I've got allergies that I'm dealing with. This
so
mold
sorry.
and pollen crap in Missouri is insane right now. I've never had this stuff.
Yeah. Allergies are no joke.
It's crazy. You know what? I ended up getting these allergies, and then 3 or 4 days later, I started losing my smell and my taste. And I'm like, well, that's really weird. I have no other symptoms other than that. And it's just really weird. I've never had allergies like that before.
I have to say, you are looking younger than you did a year ago. Noticing
How
that,
old
are
do you
you?
think I am, Diane? How old do you think I
I
am?
don't think you're my age, but just a gut feeling, and I'm never good at this. I'll say 51, 2, maybe you're 40. I'm shitty at this. I'm sorry.
I think it's 21.
21.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh, I love you. That's wonderful.
We love you.
Well, my soul and spirit feels like it's 21, but my body doesn't feel like that. That's for sure. Oh, no, you're in the ballpark. You're in the ballpark. But I actually do, overall, I do feel younger, actually.
I do too.
You know, I have more energy and stamina than what I used to have. That's for sure. And but I think it's changing with what it is. Once you make that conscious decision to make that choice and escape this world as much as you can,
You're fading out a little
because
bit there.
again, everything is vibrationally based, right? So I got redneck internet, so my apologies. We have a storm over us right now. So yeah, my apologies. We got a storm hitting us right now, so you might lose me.
Oh no.
But we're frequency based, right? We're beings of light beings, right? In the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." But the Elohim also said, "Let us make man in our own image." Well, okay, well, God said, let's make humans in our own image. Well, God is a being of light. God is, okay, well, that makes sense, because when you break down the word human, it's 2 syllables, right? Hugh, man. Hugh means light, light bearer. Man means to manifest. We manifest light. All right, so we're frequency-based creatures. 75% of our body is carbon-based, right? Carbon-based, which is water, right? Water resonates with frequencies. Well, what's the other percentage of our body? Oh, it's crystalline based. Because when we complete our transition and we're translated, and when we ascend, we become crystalline based beings once again, which was what we were originally constructed to be, not carbon based life forms. Once we activate the other 10 strands of our divine DNA, then we become crystalline based beings itself. And that's why we respond so well to frequencies when it comes to healing, growing, maturing, feeding our soul. You know, it's absolutely amazing, isn't it?
The frequencies of the cathedrals were powered by water, and the pipe organs and all of these things that they have removed and just left the facade, but they took the parts that make them function. And I believe they were for not just the people that were in the facilities. I believe it was for a large surrounding area. And you were saying energies and frequencies, and it's like somewhere in my, I don't know what to call it, past life, somewhere in this vessel's memory, I can feel it. Just even on the little hairs on my body, I can feel it in my bones. I know I've experienced this in the past, and I know that once again, we're going to be experiencing this type of thing. So is that going to be the clarion call? And when is that?
Yeah,
I just cracked the egg, didn't I?
Well, that's anybody's guess, I guess you would say. I mean, right now, as I said, people are having recall, which is what you're just talking about. People are recalling their many lifetimes that they pre-existed in itself. You know, we all, when our souls were conceived, yes, divine ones, your soul was conceived. And at the time of conception, you were either determined to be a male or a female soul, not a confused soul. Sorry to tell you that. but that's just the way things roll, right? So we made a soul contract. We got to decide how many times we would experience mortality. And depending on how many times we experienced mortality and what we did within those different lifetimes, we ascended. It's called the law of eternal progression. It's an eternal law, just like the law of one, the law of consent. The law of eternal progression is a law that predicates the whole cosmos, and the multiverse operates off of this. Because newsflash, Christ was part of the angelics. The Christos race at one time were also humans. And as they ascended and increased their dimensionality, right, they also ascended to the higher dimensions in their own matrices of their own universes. And when the Christ reached the level of a Christ, and they succeeded and they accomplished the task as Christ should have accomplished, they became Elohim. And when the Elohim did, then they became prime creators who all work for God's source itself. There's a unified collective creation body out there. It's not just a singular person goes, there you go. Now there you have at it. You know, we were created when God speaks things into creation. It's an audible sound tone, right?
Right.
I think Diane, you and I talked about this. All right. There's an audible sound tone when God's source speaks something into creation. It gives it energy first. You have to have energy and light before you can give a physical aspect to it, right? Well, the very first 7 audible sound tones of creation are Ka, Ra, Ya, Sa, Ta, Ha, La, which says Christ all. That's the acronym for Christ all, Christal, Krystal. The actual name that you spell Christ is not Christ. That's how religion put it. It's called the philosophies of men mingled with scripture. The actual name you spell Christ is Kryst. Karayasata. You add Al at the end. Allah, Christ all. That's the first 7 audible tone of creation itself. There's some white language for you. So
I love that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. You know, each day, Diane,
you're welcome.
Mel, you know, we feel we are rising within our frequencies, not just for them, but the physical too, that's allowing us and our bodies to crystalline. And this is why you're looking younger and feeling more energetic. But it's also cleaning up your diets and eating healthy, eating food that is good, that is living energy of the food and not dead energy of the food. So that, you know, you want to kind of say something along those lines, or something about the foods that we're eating and the water we're consuming, how we need to raise the vibration of that in order for it to benefit us at the same time. Oh, he's frozen. Are you frozen, ML?
I'm moving.
Yeah, we're still here. We'll wait for him to catch up. Yeah.
He will. I believe that he's gonna hang out here with us for a little bit longer.
Love that. Love that. It's beautiful. Yeah. So wait till he gets back. But again, I think just talking about frequencies over the last few days, I'm sure our audience, listeners, participants, you know, have all experienced something that's, yes. And it's about, you know, ground your energy. He'll come back in. I think he's going to sign back in. It's about grounding your energy. It's about drinking more water, making sure that you eat the right foods, clean up your diets, you know, be more conscious of what's going in your body. So therefore, that the process of the frequencies that are raising your vibe, making your body a healthier, better being, keeping you young, keeping you energetic through these times is easier process rather than a hard push through where you're having to detox each and every day because you've consumed something that doesn't suit your body. So I think cleaning up is key.
I did that, you know, while I was on a little vacation in Palm Springs. I ate a bunch of crap And, there was this tiramisu sitting there, and I'm like, oh, good Lord, no, I must at least taste it. Well, I didn't taste it. I ate the whole thing. And literally when I get home, I'm feeling terrible. And then I also realized that you were telling me that we had a solar event.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd like to talk about that a little bit. And the energies over the past few days have just been kicking our butts.
Well,
seriously.
Yeah,
Mine.
Mine too. We're not alone in this. I think
I was so tired.
There's that, and the body needs rest. You got to hydrate, have lots of water, and then make sure that you rest. Make sure you got fresh water that's purified, not tap water, right? So again, making sure the well-being of the body, what's it asking for? Honor that. Is it asking for more rest? Are you sleeping well? Are you waking up at a certain hour in the morning and then wanting to sleep a little bit later? I'm certainly feeling that too, where I'll get up very early between 2 a.m. and 4 p.m. a.m. rather. And then, having a little bit of a meditation in that time is easing everything a little bit more, right? So those are the kind of the core hours of meditation anyway, between 2 and 4. So I think it's beautiful how these experiences are coming forward.
You're much more dedicated to that than I am. My meditation is laying there for an hour going, should I get up or should I try to go back to sleep? I'm trying to go back to sleep. Should I get up? Oh, crap. And that's usually where most of us end up going. It's like, God, I just need to go back to sleep for, a few more hours or another 1 hour, 45 minutes, anything. And I think what you said is brilliant, because in those times, we should ask ourselves, why did I just wake up? Was it really just because I had to go pee, or I had to go pee because I woke up? Not that I had to go pee, so I woke up. So then when you get yourself back in there, that's when you can consciously put your head back into a different state of, rather than, crap, am I going to go back to sleep? Oh my God, he just snored again, and doing all that craziness in your head, because that's what I did for, like 3 hours one morning. And then I finally just got up. The next morning, I did do what Satnam suggested. I actually ended up falling back to sleep for a short while, but when I woke up, it wasn't this crazy static going on in my head or in my body. I woke up calm. I woke up like that. I was ready to rock and roll. And so it's just learning a new way to do the same thing you do every day.
It's quietening the mind. That's all you need to do. Don't let noise get into your head as soon as you wake up. Don't look at your phone right away. It's about, okay, there's a message here for me. Pay attention to the times that you're waking up. Are you waking up at a consistent hour every single day during the night or early morning? What does that time message say to you? Is it asking you to pay attention to your inner being? Is it saying quieten the mind and just sit with me? Because just sitting in that quietness of your own space in the early hours is something very, very sacred and very divine, because this is where your spiritual growth really takes place. Because you don't have to sit there for hours to meditate. You can just close your eyes and just quieten the mind and just take a deep breath. Yeah, you can also make a cup of tea, Tony, and go back to bed for sure. And we love and appreciate all our participants and viewers and our HVU family. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah.
And the shungite water, absolutely. I have a big water purifier. I use tap water. I know it's, a bad thing, but that's the best I can do right now. And I do have shungite in that water. I also have a copper coin, and I have several remineralizing rocks in the bottom portion where I get my water from. So copper is very, it's doing wonders for my hair. My hair is getting darker. I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but my hair is getting darker each time I come on here. And I'm not using any of those, funky soaps or anything like that. This is just the normal color my hair has been. It was white. But copper is antimicrobial, antifungal, antiseptic type of thing. So it's just little tiny trace amounts of copper. So, the little things that we do are cumulative. And know that little, your shungite rock, yeah, it's working.
Could have that, right?
I've got this one from Dylan. I've been hanging on to that funky one from Dylan.
These. And they really help with the frequencies of any radiation that you might be surrounded by, at night with the phones and stuff like that. So even keeping that with you allows you to kind of be less agitated, right? It just allows you to just kind of stay calm, align, and just ground yourself. It's that empowerment, once again, is recognizing just you, the true you within you, right? In that time of the morning when it's just you and you, that's when you really fall in love with yourself and say, okay, you know what? I really appreciate this time. I really appreciate this moment, because it's just so powerful. This is where your power starts to grow, is when you have that moment to yourself. We have noisy days and we have late nights, but if we are awakened during the early hours, that's your prime time just to sit with yourself and say, hey, I love you, give yourself that love.
And you know what? It's amazing when I take a moment and get out of my head and, and get away from that, oh my God, am I going to go back to sleep? That frantic, oh, I need my rest, and just get into, oh, how am I going to set up my day today? What would I like to experience in my day today? And it's funny, I was telling Candy this, and, set up your day. And I had a day yesterday filled with some doctor's appointments for my mom. And so basically, I set up the perfect parking spot. I set up an easy time in. We're going to get what we need done. We're going to get out. We're going to, take mom shopping if, she wants to do something like that. And it was perfect. Literally, as we're pulling up, a car is pulling right from the door, is pulling away. So we pull right into that door. And my mom says, it's just amazing how you can always do this sort of thing. Because I told her about it years ago. And so what I did was I just, the power we actually possess in that clear moment of setting up my day. After I set up my day, I was like, I stopped stressing over it. I stopped stressing over whether if I was going to go back to sleep or not. And guess what? I got another hour of sleep. And I woke up and boom, I was awake. Everything just went click, 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 and it started to work perfectly. So when you take control, it helps you. And there was something else. Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you, when I was away in Palm Springs, I woke up distinctly 3 times, once each morning. The first morning, it was exactly 5:55, according to the clock in the room. The second morning, it was 3:33. And the fourth morning, it was 4:44. Don't know. I don't know what that means, but it got my attention. Absolutely got my attention. So it was made to get my attention.
So it's about alignment. When your alignment is there and you're seeing those double numbers, triple numbers, it means that there's a message there for you, right? And it's communicating with yourself. So what does that mean? And doing your research and trying to just listen to, what is my message in this? And when you say, everything works out perfectly, when you set your intentions before you start your day, if you set the intentions of how your day is going to unfold, and you trust in that, and you allow the universe to show you how wonderful and delightful every experience can be, right? And it's the delights and surprises from the universe that make you go, wow, what a beautiful day. I got a parking spot without even stressing over anything. And it's that perfect alignment that just makes everything work out perfectly. And if we just start to just pay attention to that, it's like, okay, you know what? My day sets with the intention that I'm going to have an amazing day. And my health and well-being is in perfect balance. And your life begins to start to balance out when you live with the pure intentions and you start to kind of appreciate those little moments that really carry forward your pathway to life.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I was watching somebody's comments on the live feed much earlier in this conversation, and they were, basically, in a nutshell. I don't remember who it was and what they said exactly, but they don't know, their purpose. They don't know when this is going to show up and when that is going to show up, and they can't connect with themselves. Well, stop saying that. Let me say it again. Stop telling yourself that. Instead, wake up and say, I know everything I need to know today in advance, and it's easy. And when I get to work, I'm going to have my favorite parking spot right there available to me. And when you know that you're literally trusting what you just said, is the day that parking spot is now yours. So until that time, you don't believe what you're saying. You just say, well, I said it. I said it. Why didn't it happen? You got to use your heart. You got to use your heart and know, like you know, this is a fact, Jack.
That's
a fact, Jack.
Yeah. it's that heart and brain coherence that really kind of brings the power and the balance within. And how do we get to that? It's just by recognizing your breath that connects you to life. Appreciating your breath in every moment is a gratitude that you live by. It's the appreciation that gives you those precious moments and experiences that you really, really need. And this is where your growth starts to balance out and everything starts lining. Your life is beautiful. And this is where you raise your frequency because everything goes hand in hand, right? So when you breathe, you allow yourself to center yourself. When you quieten the mind, you allow more through the goodness to flow to you. Because
you're really happy with that.
So we're always here in service to each other, no matter who we are, what relationship we have with each other, whether it's a family, whether it's friends, whether it's co-workers, it doesn't matter what the relationship is because we're here to be in service to everybody, right? Like ML said, this is the time of being in true service, selflessly. This is not about anything else. We're here for a reason. Our purpose is to serve. And being in service, what does that mean? It means that all it takes is, hey, how are you? What can I do for you? You might not have a lot to give, but if you can give a bit of love to somebody, you're still being in service. Through these times, all it takes is that I want to just send you a lot of love. I just called to say I love you. That's all it takes to be in service. And if you can do a little bit more than that, then surely, absolutely, because this is what our seniors are looking for now. Our youngsters are looking for that to us.
Oh my God. Our youngsters some of them are amazing. And they came in here and they landed feet on the ground, starseed. Watch out because they're coming with the juice. And then there's the others that have chosen to find their way and they're struggling. And those are the ones we need to help reach out to. I met a starseed over the weekend, and she was probably, out of everyone I was around when I was on my little mini vacation, she's 12. She was my greatest gift the whole entire time. She was a starseed, a lioness, tigress, but she wasn't aggressive. She stood in her power, and anyone that had eyes to see could see how powerful she was. Oh my Lord. She was just delicious and delightful, and I absolutely just loved every moment with her.
They are so empowered, the youngsters that are coming through with the new energies. And they are not kind of even shaken by these high frequencies that we're all experiencing. They're embracing everything as if, yeah, I'm here to do the song and dance, right? Just watch me and let me live and let me show you what I can do. And they are showing and teaching us, they're educating us. They're just pure light beings and filled with love. And it's almost like, don't look for explanations and don't shut them down. Embrace them, love them, just let them be. And that's
she was so delightful. I mean, she just lit the room up, and not everybody had eyes to see. I mean, I looked around and half of these people are like, yeah, it's just a kid. And I'm like, oh my God, she's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And
she's beyond just a kid. She didn't land here just a kid. Wow.
We all are here for a reason that we do not understand and recognize. Yeah. If we just let go a little bit of our fantasies and we connect to our real self, you start to recognize your purpose here. Because as soon as you start connecting with the heart, with a lot of love, you realize how many lives you impact in a positive way just by connecting. And that's the biggest uplift that you can provide to people, right? I feel you. Breathe it, sister. Yeah. So it's
into the count of 5, out to the count of 8. Hands on your head. It will balance your brain and your heart. Bring them right where your voice might be able to say something very profound.
Absolutely. And it's beautiful. So yeah, I'm not sure if ML has his internet back yet or not. If the internet is still down, what we'll do is we will have him back again and to join us for another session, another podcast or show.
I do believe that was his intent. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be seeing ML. He will be armed and ready with some amazing grace.
I think what he shared today brought a lot of love and light for everybody. So we're so grateful to ML. Thank you, ML, for being here as our special guest today. I know you're probably watching us, but we'll I'm sure next time you'll have better internet connection for sure.
Oh, ML, if you ever have 5 hours to spare, you and I could probably talk all day long. And I would love that, even if it's just 5 minutes of your time. I adore you. I do enjoy your energy is incredible as well. And I really do thank you for sharing yourself with us and our family here on High Vibes Up. We want to also put a shout out to our kid. We love you dearly, and he's doing better every day. A little give, a little take, a little good, a little bad. Everything is a step in the health and healing direction, and everything is just a little step better and a little step better. And it's awesome seeing him do this. And Candy was just as bright as a star the other day. She was just feeling so incredibly happy and hopeful.
Yeah. No, we love our special guests. We love our High Vibes Up family. We love our participants, our audience. We thank you so much for joining us. Please do like, share, and subscribe so that we can get these messages out to the masses. And that's also being in service too. That awareness that we put forward to everybody is being in service. So we thank you. We love you. And And I'm not sure if there were any questions in the audience. I don't see much. I think it was just a lot of love and appreciation that's being sent out to us, to Amel, and we send that love right back to you, everybody. And we appreciate you. We thank you, and we'll tune in next time. And we'll have some amazing information next time. So thank you once again. A lot of love, a lot of appreciation for each and every one of us. Thank you, Diane.
I'd like to put a shout out
You
real quick.
go for it. Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to put a shout out to all of the frontline individuals out there, whether you're fire, police, RNs. My daughter is an ER RN here in Southern California, and I know they put up with some serious crap, and also they see some terrible things that they can never ever unsee. So next time you see someone, a veteran, even let's put the veterans in there, just let them know that you love them. Just reach out and say thanks. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, they're in service to everybody too, and we love and appreciate them as well. And we're all part of the collective. We're all part of the oneness. And
Those jobs are, those jobs are callings. People have to have a calling to them. You know, nobody says, "Oh, I'm going to be a cop because I could make lots of money." No, they don't.
Some people do, but that's okay.
I wouldn't think too many. I mean, to me, it would be like getting shot at. Screw that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd rather fight a fire than deal with what my daughter does in an ER room, or be a cop. I mean, you know, that's just me.
Thank you to your daughter as well. We love you. So I think for today, we're going to wrap up and send out a lot of love to everybody. Until next time, tune in. High vibes up. We'll see you soon.
Whoop, whoop.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.